Good evening. Tonight, you'll be hearing from Amber, Anthony, Marvin, and Shelby. This is a Group 3 Nichols College original series production, Decoding Generations, 1946 and beyond. This is a 2-season documentary. Season 1, 5 episodes. We'll take a deep dive at each generation from Baby Boomer to Generation Alpha. Season 2 will be a recap with 4 episodes. One for the recap for the generations, communication methods, leadership styles, and leadership preferences and potential classes. We're on to episode 1.
Baby boomers show up, settle in, hang framed certificates, and mentor interns before lunch. Conservative in approach and dedicated to the grind, they thrive in hierarchical environments where titles matter, tenure earns respect, and the org chart is sacred. Give them a challenge and a chance to leave their mark, and they'll build a legacy stronger than their coffee. Feedback? Boomers prefer it like a retirement plan. Predictable, respectful, and delivered annually with a formal nod and maybe a plaque. Daily check-ins feel like micromanagement, but clear expectations and public recognition, that's their sweet spot. When conflict arises, they go old school with a face-to-face chat and printed agenda. If things get awkward, expect a polite smile or the classic, I'm fine, which means we'll talk later. And about that tech myth, boomers don't love emojis, but they've mastered spreadsheets, video calls, and survived the floppy disk era. They adapt just fine, so don't mistake the patience for resistance. They're not stuck in the past. They're waiting for the loading bar to finish before proving you wrong. Let me move to the next. Gen X is the middle child of the workplace, raised by boomers, managing millennials and Gen Z, and the go-to for everything. They value autonomy and flexible schedules and keep things running smooth. Entrepreneurial in spirit, they fix broken processes with a spreadsheet and sarcastic comment and 0 meetings, no committee required. Gen X likes their feedback like they like their inbox, clear, concise, and junk-free. No fluff, no motivational posters, just pragmatic coaching and thanks. They'll deliver without a pep talk or a pizza party. Conflict, Gen X tends to resolve conflict quietly or through straightforward communication. Beyond resisting micromanagement and protecting their independence, their pragmatic nature keeps them focused on results without drama. They are calm in the storm, solving problems while others are still drafting their chat responses. If things get messy, they'll roll their eyes, fix it, and move on. Resilient as ever with mental archive of every time they've explained how to unjam the printer. They've been called slackers and so to embrace collaboration, but Gen X is anything but. These analog kids turned digital pros are the glue holding multi-generational teams together and the reason the office still functions when Wi-Fi doesn't. Time.
So 30 seconds, and then again, the words will come through. I'll flash them on the screen. We don't even need to discuss them. We can just have the... Welcome to Generation Y, also known as the millennial age. These are people born between 1981 and 1996, ideally. They're tech-savvy, collaborative, driven, feedback-oriented, socially connected, and seek a work-life balance. Linda Gravitt and Robin Throckmorton indicate that millennials value meaningful work, collaboration, flexibility. They are motivated by input recognition and allowed to work a good life balance. They are driven by their development and not so much job security. Gail Cushing reports that millennials best respond to ongoing informal feedback and a coaching style evaluation. They thrive on this two-way method. Patricia Quinn emphasizes that millennials reduce conflict best with open dialogue and wanting to protect their peers. They prefer constructive communication. Bruce Tolgan and Dr. Carolyn Martin will counter the stereotypes that millennials are lazy and entitled by showcasing the reality that they are dedicated, motivated, adaptive, and serious about their career development as long as the leaders are invested in them. Hiring managers will need to provide regular feedback, almost weekly, and multiple modes of communication to include text, phone calls, emails, in-person communication, offer development, and to keep millennials motivated should they choose to hire them. They are most associated with being innovative, collaborative, and adaptable.
we're going to be talking about Gen Z. Gen Z is very similar to Gen Y. They are from 1996 to 2012. They are the generation that always been around electronics, internet, and stuff like that. So they know everything have to be fast. They want everything done quick because that's what they grew up on. That's what they're used to. So in the workforce, they want to be flexible. They want to be able to work remote, hybrid, and have a strong work balance. Unlike the boomers, they would like stay at work late and try to do everything. With them, they want to have a work life balance. They are motivated by doing like creativity stuff. They want to have opportunity to learn quick, just like we talk about. They want to be done everything fast. All right. For feedback, they want instant feedback. Okay. They don't want to just wait till the annual to get that feedback. All right. They want to be expect everything to be transparent and clear and concise. Okay. They are motivated by mentor, by coaching and formal evaluation. Okay. They are for conflict resolution. They are like they want open communication. All right. They prefer digital first, chat, video calls before anything else. Some stereotype they do have there, just like Gen Z, Gen Y, they think they are lazy when they are realistically, they just prefer to do things very efficient. If there's an easier way to get it done, that's what they would prefer to do. They don't do the hard work and easy way. The other thing that stereotype they have, they are overly sensitive, but they value empathy, inclusion. They want to be included in everything that's possible. And again, other stereotype, they want everything instantly. They are adaptive and they're proactive, given the opportunity to engage and grow. So that is Gen Z in the workforce in a nutshell. Some three
Perfect.
words that go with them is innovative, authentic, and social conscience.
Generation Alpha are the kids just joining the workforce and basically are turning around 15 in 2025. In the workplace, their values are feeling like their work is valued and meaningful. They also want to make sure they are able to have a flexible life with work and life balance. Um, they also, one of their biggest things is mental health and prioritizing their mental health. For feedback, they prefer instant feedback also from bosses and employers. Once the work is done, they want to know what they can improve on for next time or how well of a good job they did. They also have the ability to perform at a pace that they will be able to handle. They don't like to stress. If they can slow down their pace and get the work done, they will do so. Conflict resolution styles, they're not really good with direct confrontation and they rather let some problems linger. To talk to them, they will prefer being over the phone. And their stereotypes versus reality is basically they're kind of seen as being antisocial, iPad kids type deal, but they're actually very motivated and information filled. Three words to describe them are technology, inclusion, and being curious.
Are you still with us? Great. So here's a recap of the 5 generations you just learned about. Boomers, 1946 to 1964. They're seen as competitive, most likely influenced from their parents reintegrating to the workplace post World War II. They're also adaptive, trying to learn how to live in a post World War II life. Generation X, 1965 to 1980. They are seen as tech savvy, as the early introduction of the cell phone and microprocessing computing. They are also seen as inclusive, as they grew up in a society post the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Gen Y, 1981 to 1996. They are seen as tech savvy, with far more advancements and new technology. They are also socially connected. This is the introduction of America Online, AOL, and other instant messaging platforms. Gen Z, 1997 to 2012. They are seen as growth seeking, and now they spend less than 2 years in their current jobs. They are also inclusive, as most likely they grew up in a time where President Barack Obama was elected to 2 consecutive terms. Gen Alpha, as you just learned, 2013 to 2025. They are information rich, as they have accessibility to things like Alexa, Siri, and AI. They are also very innovative, as we have now segued into virtual reality, smart cars, and extreme space exploration.
Let's talk communication because every generation thinks their way is the best way. Boomers love a good phone call. If you text them, they'll call you back and say, let's talk this out. They're all about professionalism, eye contact, and full sentences. No emojis, please. Gen X, masters of efficiency. They'll send a crisp email and only meet in person if absolutely necessary. They value their time, and if you check in too often, they'll ghost you faster than your last date. Millennials are digital natives who love informal chat. They'll text, DM, or drop a meme. But if it's serious, they'll schedule a coffee and talk it out after checking reviews for the best oat milk latte. Gen Z, they're lightning fast. Think TikToks, emojis, and group chats. They want feedback now, not in their quarterly review. And if you send them an email, they'll probably ask, what's that? And then there's Gen Alpha, the youngest of the bunch. They'll text you from the same room to avoid awkward eye contact. If you want to talk in person, good luck, unless you're on Roblox. So what's the key to communicating across generations? Adaptability, empathy, and maybe a universal translator app.
All right. Generation leadership style. Boomers, they prefer to be in a hierarchy where they know who's on top, who's in the middle, who's in the bottom, make life easier because that's what they're used to. Gen X, they want to have that working life balance. They are very resilient and very flexible. Gen Y expect to want to know what's the high quality and of committing people. Okay. And Gen Z, again, they're innovative, they're socially conscious, and they favor authenticity. All right. They are willing to experiment if they need to. Gen A, they're laid back. That's the new generation that's hitting the workforce. They've yet to find their ways. They're still working on it because they're still new into the workforce. But they are focused and they don't want to make anyone upset. They want fairness and getting the job done right away. Again, it's all about that quick, instant feedback. And that is the generation leadership style that they prefer over the different generations.
No, we'll now be briefing the generations leadership clashes. For boomers, they struggle being with inclusive leadership. They often lead with minimal team input. They're very, very structured, and if they're in charge, they're going to stay in charge, basically. Gen X is the peacemakers. They bring the bridges between the older people and some of the younger people in the workplace, while understanding the traditional and now new modern work values. Gen Y will clash with micromanaging because they prefer to kind of keep things, again, that work-life balance. But they will trust leaders who provide guidance to them. Gen Z may struggle with leaders who are resilient to change, provide slow feedback, or reply too heavily on hierarchy. When you're in this age group, you're looking for someone that you can work with more than have someone above you. And then the Gen A, obviously, they are a lot younger, and they also will not do well clashing with someone who's a little bit older than them, that is in charge of them.
Well, we thank you for watching, but that's not all. Coming soon, Season 3, Generation Beta.
And Generation Beta are the children of younger millennials and older Gen Z's parents.
At this time, what are your questions? So